We're on our way to the dollar show, Brody. I'm on my way to the dollar show.
And it's your girl Silver Dollar in the building. Welcome to the Dollar Show. I was trying to go live on the Dollar Show page, but it seemed like my page got blocked because of certain videos that was put up on the show on the page, and I'm assuming that I'm not following some of the community guidelines, and it's like, all right, whatever, it's all good, but we here. So, um, I have a special guest here in the building, but before I introduce him, he can sit there looking light skinned. There's a reason why I said that. You can introduce yourself to everyone. You can look at the phone on this side, and you can look at the camera over there.
Okay. Peace to everybody. I'm Magnetic 54. Born Magnetic is my attribute. Arthur Rambert is my government name. It's a pleasure to be here, and all that you want to know and will know, we here to share and chop it up. Salute to the Bronx too.
So you originally from out here?
Definitely. I'm from Cortland Avenue.
Oh,
I'm
you from
53rd
Cortland?
Melrose Project. Born and
What
raised.
is it over there?
Cortland?
Yes, how's Cortland? Because
Cortland
I've heard
is-
some.
Well, Cortland
Some
is
stories.
it's a unique area. There's how can I say? We all products from different environments. The Bronx is a genuine borough, school of hard knocks. There's a lot of essential workers, man. But Cortland raised me with a lot of good principles, man. Loyalty, togetherness, brotherhood, community. I learned a lot about community and strength from my neighborhood. So for me it was good. For me, I was able to watch and learn that a lot of, as far as growing up in the hood, in the projects, everybody's mother was your mother. So, I came from a community aspect, and that was instilled in me, and I passed that on, as I grew up. There was no individuality. We all together. Loyalty. Your word was important. I was loyal to a fault, and I'm big on loyalty, trust, truth, respect. And you didn't disrespect women when they, as far as, even though we might have been doing a lot of bad things during school hours, and when people's mothers was coming in the building, we put a lot of those things aside.
You said something just now about disrespecting women, not bitches this, and like a thought, she a thought this, hold this. Like, can we just limit that vocabulary and have these men to respect a woman like the way I see your stuff reading?
Well, I think for myself, and I can only speak for myself because I had those same humble beginnings, right? I'm not going to speak down on men who, I've never hit a woman in my life, but I was part of an era too where, we might not have hit a woman, but I know some dudes in my era and myself that, if a woman didn't give us her number or she walked by and she didn't tell us her name, yeah, we might have called her out her name. I'm not even saying we might have. I know I have. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't play a part in that, right? But when you know better, you do better. And again, we're coming from neighborhoods where you learn manhood on the fly. Not to say that you don't see it in your household. So a lot of black men, Hispanic men, we're learning, we're getting passed down manhood from what we see in our households. And not everybody had the same stereotypical household. Everybody didn't see their fathers beat on their mothers. Everybody didn't come from double parent households. So, when you're growing up 17 or 18 in the neighborhoods that we come from, we're making these rules up as we go along.
Right.
So, you're learning, some of us think that I thought manhood was having multiple women, and then I came from an era where we would say, oh, you had your wifey, and then you had your main girl, and you had your girl,
right.
And so sometimes in the areas that we came from, a guy might know that's your wife, but he wouldn't say nothing to her because you said, yo, that's my wife. But if it was just some female that you were talking to, we might crack on her. And that's not to say that these are the rules. That these are that this is gospel for everyone. I'm saying it has to come from a level of where you getting tired of the disrespect, and it comes from. For me, it came from experience. And a lot of us, we come from spaces with a lack of love, or in the neighborhoods that we come from, we're all alpha males. So we're trying not to show that we're soft. Men don't want to show that they compassionate or caring. When you're seeing when you're seeing your friends die at young ages, you almost become numb to a feeling. So, you know, when you're trying to show that you care to a woman, especially the fact that women take on so much. And at the end of the day, for real, it's a lot of displaced aggression. And what I mean by displaced aggression is we don't take out our aggression on the powers that be that are facing us. Whether it's white supremacy, whether it's police brutality, whether it's the lack of not being able to get a job, you know, and then society will place the woman against the man. Because how many days are you going to come home from work and look at me on your couch and still feel proud of me as being a man?
Right.
You know, so that plays on your psyche, right? And then you'll start, you know, you may take it out on me. The number one component and champion that's for me, I take it out on you. Right now, a lot of young men in this day and time, we just dealing with a lot of trauma. You know, because I don't think, there's always a saying that, you know, the woman that you come through is a beautiful woman, and everybody after your mother might be a B. You know, because everybody probably has love and respect for their mother. You have to be a real wild boy if you don't have no love and respect for your mother.
Now you said, wow, we getting deep. Okay. When it comes to loneliness, I have a background with that from the losses that I've had in my life. So from losing my daughter, I lost a daughter. I lost two brothers. I lost a mom. And it gets real. You know, you be, in my mind, you're in a box. You're just like trying to put yourself away from people. So we're going to get into Mr. Magnetic being incarcerated. But can you talk about that loneliness?
Yeah, I definitely can speak to it. Well, there's loneliness on degrees because one, some who are just in prison, and then you have individuals who are in long-term segregation, you know, solitary confinement, you know, and that plays a part on you because when you're in prisons that when you're locked down for 23-1, it takes a strong mind because prison is not made to rehabilitate you. So the loneliness is the fact that silence is loud and it makes no mistakes. So, you know, if you're not receiving any letters, if you're not receiving any visits, you're doing a hard bid. And what I mean by hard bid is that all you have is yourself. A lot of self-identity. But I don't judge or fault individuals because, again, that loneliness can build on you. You know, it weighs on you. And what I mean by that is to see the mail go by you every day. So let's say you have a 10-year bid and no one is. I've seen people, and I've even done it. I've sent request forms out just so that I can have something come back in. You know, nobody wants to feel alone because you're already removed from society. Right? Prisons aren't built in the backyards where family members can come see them. They send us in the communities that we're from, and then they ship us away from our communities to make it harder for the families or the people that we are attached to have that connection. And then once you cut that connection, it makes it easier for the correctional officers to treat men in a certain type of way. And again, like myself, where I was at, being in the state of Virginia, you were reduced to a number. So you're not even hearing your name called. You know, your mail call, they call your number. Visits, they call your number. So again, like I said, there's times now where I'm free. I go places, I go to restaurants, I go anywhere where I can have somebody say, call my name, because it's beautiful to hear. Because for years I just heard 1145107. My mother was there, and I was blessed to have my mother. I had my uncle come see me. You know, a few friends was coming to see me here and there, but for the most part, my mom's truth the whole bed with me. You know, so you know, power to her. You know, definitely.
You have children?
No, I do not. You know, but definitely respects to her. You know, she was taking an 8-hour ride for a 2-hour visit. You know, so my heart goes out. I think that's why I strive to champion the cause of men and women who are coming home. You know, or I strive to echo the sentiment. You know, even on my page, I try to do something called Welcome Home Wednesdays for men and women who are coming home. But just
what is it called?
Welcome Home Wednesdays. You know, for individuals from whatever state you are. You know, I post you up on my page. You know, you coming home. You know, just to show some
Is that
type
an
of.
organization?
Nah, that's just something I came up with.
You said Welcome Home Wednesdays?
Yeah.
I like that because there's many that come home.
Well, excuse me, not to cut. Now the politically correct term is returning citizen. That's how we're acknowledged, you know, because we are citizens and we are
At the end of
returning.
the day. So there was an incident that happened, I'm sure you're aware of, in Harlem. A young lady, I don't know not that I don't know the full story, it was just disturbing to hear, to listen, to watch. She was attacked in the liquor store. And she was by herself, but not only that, it was about like 4 men that attacked this young lady, this young lady. And not one person helped her. Like, do you have any thoughts on what happened? Like, how do you feel about, I feel like now Harlem looks so bad as far as that situation, only because people's always outside in Harlem, and with COVID, it's limited, but nobody helped this woman that whole time that she was out there getting attacked by 4 men, and they was fighting her, like they fought her one by one.
Nobody helped Junior either, right? So the Bronx, we still ain't, in certain aspects, it's either in you. Like, I'm not gonna fault, because I've never been in that situation, right? But New York is a place, and this is just not happening in New York. It just has to be in you as a man, female. You have to say, well, is this the day that I'm gonna put myself out there? And very well, I may not come home, but I'm gonna go ahead and step out there and protect someone.
All right.
So that's first and foremost. As far as the young man, like, nobody wins, right? Because what was going through this young man's head? Are y'all that bored that this is what you chose to do? Like I said, that savagery in 2021, I may have played a part in some savage acts in the 90s. Not as far as beating up no women or anything like that. So I don't want to show whatever's happening to him, we passed down. So somebody has to be responsible. So a level of accountability. So all I can do is be accountable for the fact that I know he's probably going to get dealt with, and that's for sure. That day, or what is it about rejection that you've seen growing up that you can't handle, right? It has to be something at the root of that.
He attacked a female, and I guess he was talking to the female before she went inside the liquor store, and I guess she rejected him. He was upset. He walked in there. She's saying that she's good. They walking out, and then she gets attacked. So it's like you're that upset, and and it's not on. It happened with her. Who knows how many times after that can happen? So now what? So now us females got to walk outside with maids. We got to be protected. I don't know. It's getting scary out there.
Well, yeah. It's scary times. It is, but it's always been scary times.
But this times is different. Like I've never lived COVID. A year and a half ago, I wasn't thinking about walking with no weapon. Now I'm on something like, okay, now I gotta have my guard up like 10 times more. So.
Well, if you're not a felon, you should be a licensed gun carrier anyway. You should make that your right anyway at all times.
There's a thought.
But I don't think everything deserves you killing somebody. There's no levels anymore. It's just like, for every disrespect, you gotta get killed. There's no fight, or we know fighting is far gone if you can't fight.
At all? Oh, definitely not. Not today.
So
definitely not.
Every level of disrespect warrants you getting shot or killed. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, Mr. Magna, I like calling you Mr. Magna. I like saying it like that. You don't mind?
Nah, we good.
Cool? Can we talk about your background and your incarceration of 25 years? When I posted that on my page, there was people on my Facebook especially, and they was like, wow, that's going to be one amazing conversation. So, let's get to it.
So what we talking about?
From the beginning, you say you're an open book. From the beginning
okay.
to the middle, and where we at right now.
So let's see. Growing up, in the crack era, from the era of the 90s, and, coming alive in that era, everybody's, well, I ain't gonna say everybody. The streets have a magnetic attraction all of their own. So for me, I have, my parents worked, my mother was a diehard worker, but once you come in outside your building and you going to school and you're seeing, you know, guys your age and older that's, you know, making what your mother's making, you like, yo, you know, I may want to do this too. But I've always was the school dude. You know, around my way, I was the get fresh school dude. So it was like, that's what they knew me as. I was going to school and I always stayed fly. So, excuse me. So with respects to that, the opportunity presents itself when you seeing your friends get into it. You know, I guess maybe I was on some brandy, I want to be down. Or, you know, you're thinking like, you know, well, damn, they doing it. You know, I might as well do it too. You know, or at least that's, I guess that was my thought. You could say follow the leader, but, you know, it was paying off. So if I'm seeing my friends getting to it and it was paying off, I was like, yeah, I want to get with that too. So, you know, it was lucrative. And even in the midst of that, we going in town and out of town. And I went out of town and went to Connecticut and got shot 5 times. So, you know, that can't, and you know what? The end result is, like, I'm still here, but I respect it because, again, like I said, we going in and out of town from New York and we going to other people's states, and this is the mindset we're going with. You know, we're going to get money by any means necessary.
So you was getting to it.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I you know, I was getting to it for me. I wasn't getting to it for somebody to say, well, you know, in the realms of those that was getting to it, nah. But, you know, I was cool with what I was making, right? You know, so with respects to that, after being shot, I said, well, let me go ahead and finish high school because at least I can put a smile on my mother's face just in case I get killed while I'm out here. So that was really that was my only end result. Like, yo, let me go to high school, graduate, so I can put a smile on my mother's face. Because I figured, like, if I'm in these streets, I very well may meet my own demise. So in going to school, you know, I got accepted to go to college. So I took that route, you know, and it was a beautiful thing. Got accepted to Virginia State and went to Virginia State. The only thing about that is, going away to school, my mindset was, I was physically in school, but my mindset was still from the block I left. So I'm out of town, and I wasn't really out of town taking advantage of the opportunity I just had been handed. You know, me and a few of my friends that I grew up with, that we graduated from school together, high school together, you know, graduated from Bronx Regional, and we came out of town together. So it was like, all I saw was, damn, we out of town. Whatever it was in New York City, we can triple that out of town. And so that was my mind. Sad part about it is, you're either gonna go to school or be a drug dealer. You can't do both. I mean, I couldn't do both. There were those
that. What time was this now?
This was the 90s, 93.
93. Wow, I was
Yeah, you were.
I was.
Okay,
I was
feel
12.
free. Okay.
I was playing with Barbies.
Okay, so were my sisters. But you know, 93. So I'm going to school and I'm bringing work from New York, from my block out of town, and it was very lucrative. And then there were incidents that happened that transpired, and again, like I said, I was loyal to a fault and ran up on somebody that did somebody wrong that I knew, right? So it was more or less, it was you or me, and I was like, well, it had to be you. See, it was right, but it went wrong because we came for one thing and somebody else was there. So it went from a robbery to a double homicide. And the only reason being was, now see, this is where things get real, because as like, even like in Bronx Tale, I mean in what's Benny Blanco, Carlito's Way. Yeah, Carlito's Way, when he was telling Kleinfeld, he said, yo, you're not a lawyer no more, you're a gangster. You know, it's a different rule now.
Red hair, right?
Yeah, he said you playing by different rules. So once you start playing with them guns, and you know, it's like, well, we can take this, right, and leave, but it's like, now, how do I continue going to school knowing that I've already pulled a gun on you? And so from there, it went from a robbery to a homicide, right, in the blink of an eye. And that's how quick things can transpire, and that's how quick your life can flash in front of you, and it's like,
you shot.
Yeah, definitely. I killed one person. You know, I'm only responsible for the person that I killed. I can't bring the other person into this story, but I'm responsible for me.
That's so.
You know, and it was just in the height of the time. We talking about, you know, it wasn't like I said, I'm gonna wake up this morning and just go out and kill somebody. You know, not making light of it. I took the life of somebody that was in the drug game, and in that game, this is what this is what may happen at times. There's only three things that can happen. You can get rich, you can get killed, or you can get locked up.
So I wasn't really aware of that part. Like that kind of stung me on only because I lost my brother to the street. So now it's gonna get a little intense. So, so you took someone
Yes.
life. Like you said, is either you're gonna make it out or that's what's gonna happen. Do you feel any sympathy? I'm gonna ask you real shit. Like you did it, you did the time, you sat in there, and now did you feel any sympathy towards the family, towards the individual, or it was just that's just the street of the code of the streets?
I mean, there is no real code of the streets. I mean, hopefully, you know, you don't tell. I mean, if other than if you're a civilian, you don't rap. You know, if you're connected to a situation. What I mean by that is, I'm gonna answer your question. What I mean by that is, if we connected to a crime and we go down together and you take the stand, you told. If you're a civilian and something happens and you using your your citizens' right, that ain't telling because we're not connected.
Somebody told on you?
It always go. No. Somebody told on me. A friend of mine that I grew up with.
So you did your time as you should.
Yeah, I did mine, and with the
I'm like.
No. Listen, I'm getting to some. Only reason why.
Like I'm being aggressive because again, like I said, like I lost mine.
We've all lost somebody to the streets, right? And it's not to make light of what happened to your brother. You know what I'm saying? That's real. People are losing their life every day with the choices that we make. My thing was.
So you did show sympathy.
Once I came into the understanding of the part that I played in perpetuating ignorance, because again, I killed somebody that looked like me, right? I didn't have it was like I had a lack of self-respect for myself, right? So, and this is what I'm taught along the way. Like, if you shoot a black person, put it like this. I didn't place a lot of value on my life, so I couldn't see nobody placing any value on somebody else's life that looked like me. But they taught me wrong, and I was facing the death penalty. So, not only was I facing the death penalty, my friend came to court on me and took the stand and tried to sentence me to the electric chair. But
a friend, you said?
Yeah. He was.
A friend tried to sentence you said?
Well, no, he came to court on me. We were all connected to the crime, and he came to court on me. Yeah, so he ate at my house, I ate at his house. His mother know my mother, I know his mother.
You guys did it together?
Yeah, we were all part of. That's why I said, we were all part of the same scheme. Yeah, so.
Who pulled the trigger?
I did. So I even say that, yeah. Okay, he may have told the truth, right? So he couldn't have told the truth had I not done what I did, right? But again, we were already connected. So with respect to sympathy, I guess when I gained the knowledge of myself, what I mean by that, when I had knowledge and I started loving me, I recognized that, damn, I took somebody's life that looked like me, right? And one thing about murder, right? You don't just kill. When you kill somebody, you're really killing more than one person because you're killing everybody that person was important to. So I took a person away that could have been anybody, right? He could have been bad. He could have been good, right? But the fact is that.
To your eyes, is bad, but.
What I'm saying is. I don't know what he could have been. I've robbed him of his life to be whatever he could have been. You know what I'm saying? Especially in these days and times, black men are endangered species. From each other, from the police, from a lot of things. From heart attacks. We number one for everything. Except wealth. And that's sad. So for me, it wasn't about, I can't say sympathy, but I felt, I guess, you want to be semantics. I felt very remorseful. Because again, like I said, I took the life of somebody that could have done a whole lot more. Or maybe done a whole lot less, but it wasn't my choice to choose. But in that moment, I felt I had to do it.
Now I have a question for you. Since you stated that you took someone's life, right? Are you a murderer?
Am I a murderer? Damn, that's a good question. I committed murder. I'm not defined by my circumstances. We all have the ability to kill, but I guess I'm not gonna dance around your question. I went to prison for homicide, right? I went to prison for murder. So in that aspect, I was a murderer. for that crime. In this day and time, I'm not defined by that. You know, I'm not
So
defined.
you saying you're not a murderer, but because of the situation you're on now, what about to the family?
Let me tell you something. When I went to court, the family of the person that I got locked up for, went over to my mother and said, "Yo, even though your son took my son's life and he's not coming back, because I was facing the death penalty, his mother told my mother, I still don't want to see your son die." So that's powerful. I don't know that type of, that was very powerful. So you're not supposed to reach out to the family while you're incarcerated. You have to find a way to go through, do something like that. And once I started going up for parole, I felt like I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to rehash their memories, and I didn't want to, make it look like a ploy, like, well, I'm just reaching out because I'm trying to go home. So I came to grips with myself and said that I was going to take it upon myself, and I can't stop murder, but I will at least try to reach those that I'm in connection with.
Did you reach out to the family?
Since I've been home, no, I haven't. I did. I don't even know. Well, I guess in the world of Google, I probably could, but I think even now that I'm off parole, I probably could, and that may be something I will look into. But once they always said, don't reach out to the family without so and so. They have organizations that can do that, and I very well.
I don't think you should.
Okay. We talking about 20-something years ago, and I don't know if they've healed or not.
You're never gonna hear from no shit like that. That's not, and that's just me talking from experience. That's not something you're not going to hear from that.
Okay.
And especially if there's a child that was left behind, if there was a parent that died behind. Like, again, I come from experience. My brother was murdered. The streets took my baby, bro, and my mother was sick, and that his death took her. Depending on where they at with it. It doesn't matter if it's 25 years. Mine is still fresh. Baby boy's going on 9.
I think for me, that's why I just try to put myself, like I took it upon myself, and I feel that, right? You know what I'm saying? That maybe I can't.
Because at least you facing.
Maybe I can live. He can't. He's not here, but maybe part of him can live through me, and I can just strive to save somebody else. And bring some form of information again.
It takes a lot, and it takes a lot for me. See, to even have this conversation with you, and that's just real shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm actually I'm in their shoes. So, that's just crazy. I need 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes.
Excuse me.
Whew. But I am talking to Magnetic and his experience when he was incarcerated for the 25 years. But I also was asking him about how did he feel any sympathy when it comes to the family, or if he reached out. And his response is what got me, emotional, because of it is the same experience that I've had. I'm talking from as far as not the outside, but the family that actually lost their loved one. So it just brought me back to when I lost my brother, and my brother, he was taken from the streets. So speaking to someone that actually committed, crime.
Yeah, that's okay.
Speaking to someone that actually committed the crime, and he's out and he's free, it's like I'm talking to the person that took my brother's life. That's how that's how I felt. I asked him if he reached out to the family, and he said, well, there's Google, and just the what he was saying was, I felt like he was talking to me. I felt like, wow, like you would really try to reach out to the family. And at the end of the day, you're not damn, God, like the universe is crazy. You're not a bad person. Like,
I mean, the decisions we make don't make us. I mean, we are not our decisions.
Crazy.
We're decisions. Like, I'm not. Like, I don't represent every person that has went to prison for murder, but I represent that. Yeah, I represent that in the aspect that we make decisions based according to our level of understanding. In some situations that we are put in, we are forced to do certain things. The one thing that I can do is come home and live, right? And what I mean by live is that person ain't coming back. I've lost family members to these streets, and everybody is a street, you know? Everybody is a street, and what I mean by that, everyone isn't supposed to be out there, you know, but lives are lost, you know, to serve is for lessons.
Right, you know, and it's like, it don't matter how the person died.
No.
You know, the individual.
We're talking about the circumstances.
You know, they're gone. So, you know, you went away, you did your time, and, you know, at the beginning, you know, the question was, did you reach out to the family? And you stated, okay, you know, there is Google, blah, blah, blah. And my head is like, nah, don't even bother to reach out, because that's not something you said, you know, maybe it's been time for them, yeah. But I'm speaking from someone that to me is fresh still. You know, it's only been 9 years for me. But for them, it's been 25 years. So it's like, they might be ready for that kind of conversation with you. But for you know, so I'm trying to take myself out of
This is a true story, not by what I witnessed. This is a true story that came through the words of Mumia Abu-Jamal while he was on death row.
What was the name?
Mumia Abu-Jamal in Philadelphia, brother. You know, political prisoner on death row. So while he was on death row, there was a guy on death row, and he lost his daughter. His daughter was murdered by her boyfriend. They put the guy that murdered his daughter on death row on the same tier block with the father. Right? They did that not by accident, because you're already on death row. They did that purposely. And the father said, I know that they put this young man up here for me to do something to him. But even in that, as much as I don't and I disdain what he did to my daughter, my hate for the place that I'm in won't allow me to hurt him, because no one deserves to be here. Right? So I sit before you as a man, that made a bad decision. It felt like it was the right decision to make. But all I can do is take from my circumstance for me, right? And recognize that there's some people that's incarcerated that are innocent. There are some people that made decisions that when you go to court, they don't even look at whether you were mentally capable of committing a crime, right? Or all I want to do is to be a voice for those, I say a voice for the voices. Case in point, I'm coming on your show today and I get a call this morning. A close friend of mine who watched me go home. And he called me at 8 this morning. He said, man, this is my 29th year. I came in here at 19. The victim's family said they want me home. I went up for parole from Virginia in August, maybe July. And this is January, and they said, no, you haven't done enough time. So the victim's family speaks on your behalf and says, we thought he was home. And I got to get the call this morning and say, and you telling me, nah, man, I ain't coming home. So what do I tell him? Like, you know, I'm saying I have no plans on going back, because I'm striving to do right and live for those that may not have an opportunity to get out here. Had we had proper representation, had we had an understanding of financial literacy, had we know the power of $1 instead of talking about getting to the bag, right? See, that's what they sell us, but there's no money in the bag. I've been a cheater. I've been a robber. Never, but I'm flashing myself on. I'm just saying, like, it's not fair for me to come out here and speak about men in the aspect like they're these things and I've never been one of those things. So your platform just affords me an opportunity to sit before you. I'm not here because I went to prison. I'm here because you needed to see me. This is for you. I thought this was for me.
Now you have Philip telling you that you're coming home. How was that feeling?
You know what? Wow, it was indescribable because, let me tell it, I've been deserved to come home. So you let me home 25, like I went up for parole in 12 years and you let me home 13 years after I started going up for parole. I felt like I should have been here.
You should have been home.
Well, you know, I was ready. Put it like this. I was ready to come home. You know, I was ready. Usually when your counselor comes get you in a prison,
Death or something.
it's a death. You know, usually when somebody comes to get you and they say, man, we need to see you in the counselor's office, and men and women can attest to this, it's probably not too good.
Somebody died in your family.
Yeah, yeah.
You been locked up?
Yes.
Yeah.
How long you there?
13.
Oh.
Yeah, so, you know, so with respects to that, when they called me in there, they was like, sit down. So I was like, oh, man, it's 8 in the morning. Because now I've already had knowledge of people getting their parole answers, but they usually come in the afternoon or the evening. So when they called me, I was like, dang. So now I'm sitting there, they said, man, we got something to tell you. So we said, yo, you ready to go home? Yeah, I'm ready. He said, well, you made parole. He said, you're not going to cry? I said, no, because I earned this. I said, my mother may get the tears, but not you. Because she did day for day with me.
Your mom's still around?
Yes, my mother's still
God
around.
bless her.
I got my answer December 20th, so that was like almost for my mother. It was a Christmas gift for her, 2018. You know, 2017, because I came home 2018. You know, and I'm making positive strides. I had life of parole, even though it was a choice for them to let me home, they didn't have to. But I earned the right, because while I was in prison, I worked in the school. So for 20-something years, I helped young men get their GED.
Okay.
You know, I helped young men learn how to use computers. You know, so much so if you was on the yard and you was young, yo, I wouldn't care, yo, you don't got your GED? No, you getting your GED. So I earned the right to be here. You know, so if I can reach a young man or young woman, you know, from my neighborhood or whatever neighborhood, you know, if I have something to share, I'm gonna share it.
We gotta have a part 2 to this interview because I have so much to ask. This is interesting to me, and it's overwhelming at the same time. You're home now, and you have the Wednesdays you mentioned.
Well, yeah, like on my page, I like to post up Welcome Home Wednesdays if it's somebody that came home, or put some type of resource up there, or from any state. If it's anything that has something to do with whether it's you know, activism, I just like to put it there for people to, you know.
Move forward with that, make noise with it, because they need it out there. We need it in the community. Where can everybody find you? Do you have any projects that are out? Do you have any organization?
I'm part of you know, a group of men who came home. You know, so it's several of us, but I'm part of like you see this compass, wherever you see this compass at, this is what I'm a part of.
Okay.
MSB, Manifest Something Beautiful. People that do music, you know, my brother OG Audio, K Mos, Millard Divine, he's an author. It's a lot of us. There was a quote that changed my life.
Which is, I love quotes.
And it says, men and dogs are called, not slaves and dogs are called by their masters, but free men name themselves. So yes, my honorable name is Arthur Rambert. April 21st, April 22nd. Okay, yeah, Taurus is in the building. So on Instagram and on Facebook, Arthur Rambert. You know, I didn't know that you was just use my government name. You know, hey, I just came home. Yeah, I didn't know.
Well, what you have going on, if you need me to help advertise, if you need me to post, I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you for having swept me under the rug, but you didn't. You know, you stayed consistent, and I appreciate that.
She don't cap. She don't cap.
Yeah,
She don't cap. She ain't capping. She ain't capping.
And much success with whatever you're doing. And
That being said, everyone, thank you for tuning into the Dollar Show. Everyone have a good night.
Talk how I wanna talk, spit how I wanna spit, boy, yeah. I'm on the Dollar Show. On the realest station I now, baby.